welcome back to another episode of the Money Mentor with Graham Home. Continuing on with the Changing Lives Financially series, we have two amazing special guests who have absolutely fucking knocked it out of the park. Welcome. How are we?
Yeah, very good. Thank you.
Good.
Yeah, good
Now,
to be here.
A few formalities. Let's talk about where we're from.
Yep.
Where are we based?
So we're Gold Coast, based in Varsity Lakes.
Just down the road.
Yeah, we were closer to your old office, but this was...
So Todd and Tania, everyone, by the way. I'm like,
we're just straight into it.
Today, so straight into it.
Yeah, that's it.
Todd and Tania, Varsity Lakes, so
Yep.
just down the road from HQ here.
Yes.
Yep. And how many years young are we? 21, never been kissed?
Oh, we wish. No.
No. Let's say late 40s.
Very, very eloquently spoken.
Yeah.
Late 40s?
Late 40s.
Okay. And family?
We've got two girls.
Yep.
Yeah.
Beautiful.
13 and 15-year-olds.
Couple of shotguns by the door just in case.
Yeah, that's it. That's why I've got to still, try and keep myself active, chase off the boys.
Yeah, good.
Yeah.
Okay. And tell us a bit of background. When did you join Infinity?
So it was just over 12 months ago. So I think it was April last year, so April 2024.
Just had our infiniversary.
Yes,
Okay.
infiniversary, yeah.
Okay. And why did you come searching for some help? Curtain back. All right, yeah, strap in.
So I think we were on a path that we wanted to move forward with.
Yep.
I guess we're relatively comfortable, and Tanya and I probably had pieces of the jigsaw puzzle, but we didn't have the whole picture.
Right.
And I think that was
So
part
you had the frame?
Yeah, had the frame.
99%?
Well, maybe not even the frame, just the jigsaw pieces.
Oh, okay.
You start a jigsaw puzzle and you start at the edge and work in.
Yeah.
I think we just had the pieces,
We
but
just
kind
couldn't
of...
find the first.
Everything was on the table, dumped out of the box?
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
So where's the frame?
Yep.
All right, and then put it all together, and there's always that one piece under the lounge
Yeah.
or somewhere.
Yeah, and
Yes.
look, I think we've always had a epiphany with property.
Okay.
Like my parents used to buy properties, and my grandfather was a builder, so he'd get in there and help them do them up. And Tanya was just mentioning that her family did the same. So I think property was always something that we were interested in, but what we were really looking for is, I guess, a strategy, and that's kind of what we were searching for.
Right.
Yeah.
Okay. So you had the pieces. Just, okay, where do we start with the frame? What goes where? Work our way in.
Yeah, pretty much. And I think we both had our own ideas of where to take our next steps. But yeah, I think...
Oh, so you
we
came
went
to
on
us
the
to be
same-
marriage mentor,
Pretty
not money
much, yeah.
mentor. Oh, I see what's going on here.
we all needed like that umpire in the middle that would go, well, there's some good ideas here.
So like, I'm going left, I'm going right. Oh,
Yeah.
someone's got to tell us to go straight.
Correct.
100. That's exactly what we were looking for.
So that's what Beck does with me. Every good idea I've ever had, I'm like, hey, babe, blah, blah, blah. I was just thinking. She goes, oh, you were just thinking, were you, dickhead? I'm like, yes, it was your idea that you seed planted very well with me a month ago, so it became my idea.
Yeah.
I was just thinking. She's like, whatever, mate.
Yeah,
Yes.
that's pretty much it.
Yeah, exactly. It.
Okay.
Yeah.
So pre-Infinity, take me back. What were things like financially? What were balances of home loans, investments, all that sort of jazz?
Where were we at?
So we still had our primary home investment, which was an investment property previously in Burleigh Waters.
So had the old home.
We had the old home. So yeah, I think that was, another light globe moment when we went on the masterclass. Like,
Yep.
so many things that we learnt there. We're like, oh, we've done that wrong. We've done that wrong. So we had the Burleigh Waters, which was the old family home.
Yep.
As well as Sunshine Coast, we had an investment property.
Oh, this is
On the
going.
Sunshine.
This is going back. Sorry, I
Yes.
probably should have started at the
Yes,
beginning
probably
times.
should've.
Yeah, go right back.
You go right back.
Minister for Finance,
Yeah,
please
go
share.
right back times.
No, we purchased our first investment property on the Sunshine Coast, 2006.
Yeah, 2006.
Okay.
Yeah. It was a brand. We were living in Sydney,
Yep.
so we were dinks, no kids,
Yep.
having a great lifestyle.
Yep.
But we couldn't afford the Sydney market.
Okay.
At all.
Well, we thought we couldn't afford
No,
it.
yeah.
Back then, that was a 2-bedroom unit. It was about $440.
Yeah.
And I'm like, I'm not signing myself up for a life of debt to
Yep.
live in a red brick
Yeah.
2-bedroom unit.
Yep.
And my family's from the Sunshine Coast. So we went up on a holiday, and Tanya was like going through the real estate. She goes, do you know you can buy a brand new 4-bedroom home on the Sunshine Coast for $350?
Yeah.
And so that's kind of where
So we
it
did.
kicked off.
Smart decision.
Yeah,
We did.
Yeah. So
Yeah.
we were rent investors essentially back in 2006.
Okay.
So lived where we were working, which was Sydney.
Yep.
Had the investment property on the Sunshine Coast. And that's kind of where I guess we started
Gotcha.
that journey.
Okay.
Yep.
And then bought in Burley Waters.
Yeah. So, as Tanya mentioned, we're both dinks living in Sydney. We lived there for 5 years, and we could kind of see in the horizon that we wanted to start a family.
Okay.
So we thought, why not move to the Gold Coast? My sister was living in the Tweed, so I thought we'd have some family support there.
Yep.
So jetted up to the Gold Coast, rented at Palm Beach,
Okay.
Talabudra right across from the water. So
Yeah.
it
That
was
was nice.
amazing.
Tough gig.
Yeah, just
Yeah.
renting of course. But and then we got serious about house hunting. So we kind of were looking at different areas. We even looked at around Tweed,
Yep.
around that area, but ended up.
Yeah, we couldn't find anything, but Burley Waters was a good, solid 3-bedroom, double garage
Yep.
home we thought we could use as an investment
Okay.
later. So it wasn't our dream home at all.
It was
Yeah.
a stepping stone.
It
It was a stepping stone, yeah, 100%.
And we
Yeah.
kept our Sunshine Coast property.
Okay.
Moved in there, had our kids, and then we wanted to get a bigger house.
Yep.
Down the track. Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
But there was no real growth we found in the Sunshine Coast, so we thought, all right, let's get our money out of the Sunshine Coast and bring it to the Goldie.
Right. So
And get us the
sold
bigger-
Sunny Coast
Sold Sunny Coast.
Yeah.
And then purchased Varsity Lakes.
and kept Burley Waters.
Yeah.
Yes. And then
And then?
and then we didn't know, that's when we came to what are we doing now?
So we've got Burley Waters, purchased the big dream home in Varsity Lakes. Okay. Kept the old one, got the new one. Yep.
Yeah.
Okay. Got it. Credit cards, car loans.
Yeah.
Yes. So when we joined in Infinity, we had Tanya's car loan.
Mm.
So that was around the mid-20s. We had a credit card that we were using. As everyone always says, we always paid it off every month.
We never
Yeah.
paid interest on it.
Yeah,
Yeah.
so we had the credit card. And look, we were comfortable, but we just seemed to be, I guess, stuck. We
couldn't
had
get
like a little bit in our savings. You know, we're paying off the mortgage, probably a little bit more than the minimum.
Okay.
But we were just like, there's something else, and we couldn't quite get
Take
there.
the next step.
Okay.
Yeah.
So when did you join Infinity again?
Last year.
April 2024.
April's right, yeah,
So it's like 13 months.
Where did you find us?
So that's an interesting story, I guess.
Okay.
Because anyway, so one of my mates told me is about 10 months before we joined Infinity.
Yeah.
He's like, I've signed up with this group and they help you pay off your house and they set up a budget. And I'm a massive Excel fan. So when he said budget, I'm like, oh, budget.
Yeah.
Tell me more. And he was saying, they help you set up a budget, pay off your house. I'm like, oh, that sounds very strange. Like, because we've worked with mortgage brokers.
Right.
And on a separate side, financial advisors, but they were just shares. I'm like, I've never really heard of.
That's not sexy what I do.
Sounds
like,
sexy.
like typically a broker sells you a loan
Yeah.
Yeah.
and says, here's the lowest possible payment I can get you forever.
Yeah.
And that's what we think is success, right?
Correct.
And then maybe I'll sell you some shares or whatever. But to come to someone and say, hey, budget, not a sexy word. People think starvation, diet.
Yeah.
And then make that sexy. It's not fun. It's a hard pitch.
Yeah. No, I think budgets are sexy, but
And go, hello. Buy me a drink first.
yeah. So that was kind of where it landed on my radar. And then I guess Tanya and I, with our backgrounds, we spent a bit of time doing our research.
Yeah, yep.
So stalked you on Instagram for quite a while.
Yeah.
And I think really the epiphany moment was when I watched that Both Sides podcast, which I've heard been brought up a few times before.
That's sort of it went viral, and if I talk about it, I think back on it now because the boys are lovely, and they were genuinely, authentically engrossed at what I had to say. Like they were learning. Do you know what I mean? Like two sharp young agents, they were learning, and they typically have the best real estate agents in Australia, and all these amazing people in there. But they were so like, whoa! I think that when you were listening, I've watched it back now, and I'm like, I'm excited by them going, what? Like they're genuine. I'm doing it all wrong. It just kept going, and I was enjoying myself because I typically don't do shit. Like I'm in my own little bubble, never do anything with it. Like externally, I've only done 3 or 4.
Yeah.
And each time I do, they blow up. So I think it was kind of like we did it, and it was going so well. I'm like, let's do around like an hour and 2 hours or something. And I'm like, hey, I got to go to this live event after Branson, and they're like, can we do another one? I'm like, sure, just follow me with the camera and we'll go over to the room. So then you see the other ones are in the room. We're getting set up for a live room, and it just continued on. And I'm like, this is really fun. So I think their energy fed a lot of my energy, which fed people going, well, shit, there's some value in here.
Yeah. And
So
I don't know
what clicked in the podcast for you guys?
for me, it was the authenticity. And I
Okay.
think there was so many of the things that we were not doing, I think, with our loan structure
Yeah.
and probably things I hadn't really heard talked about. I think we were so sort of brainwashed by what everyone does, like pay your minimum, don't worry about paying off your home loan, move your investment money maybe into shares or some other vehicle, but your home loan and releasing that equity.
Yeah, your
is
home
not
will
really-
always go up in value, so just pay the minimum.
Yeah, that's right. So there were just some concepts that were like, wow, that's such a smart idea. And probably that was almost like, oh, there's something there that we're not doing that we could definitely start doing straight away.
We also knew we had equity in our Burley Waters home, but we didn't know how to unlock that equity either.
Right.
It was frustrating because we knew it was there, but we just couldn't move it into our primary. We just didn't know.
And then learning equity and cash are not the same thing. So we can go get the equity and invest more, or we could liquidate and take the cash and put it off the home.
Yeah.
They're different, right? And everyone will just take the equity and sell you something else. So
Yeah. And then the concept of selling your investment property and moving that to your primary was not even
Well, you
on
didn't
the
want to
radar.
sell.
Didn't want to sell.
No,
I was
you
never
didn't.
going to sell.
And on the webinar, you said it about selling the old dog, and I'm like,
Yeah, she hit me. She goes, I told
I
you.
told you. See, I'm right.
She was saying we should do something. We should
Todd
sell
was never
Burley.
going to sell. He was never going to sell.
No, I
it.
was
So
never
let's
gonna
go back. So home owed how much at Varsity at the time in April last year?
sell. It was
560.
Yeah, about 560. We still had going.
560. And we were able to, and my suggestion is obviously to sell Burley Waters. What did that get the mortgage down to?
0.
In how long?
Oh, we sold it a month and a bit later.
Yeah, I was messaging you on Insta.
And so you were like, oh, never
Yeah,
sell.
I was messaging you like, this is our position, and you actually came back and you said, sell that dog. This is
Yeah.
before you even joined up.
Yeah, I'm a weirdo. I
Yeah, it was
tell
after the
people a lot.
webinar.
And I was like, oh
Yeah,
look,
before the master
Graham
class.
actually responded,
Yeah.
and Tony's like, see, he agrees with me. So I was cooked then, and so Tanya was so invested. She's like, yeah, I've been saying that all along.
Well, it doesn't make sense, right, to carry a $560,000 debt when you invest to make money. But also, here's the other thing. That Burley Waters was your home, right?
Yeah.
Yeah, it was.
So you can move out of that, the 6-year rule. You can sell
Wow.
that, or was it or did you
We
make it an
missed
investment?
the
No,
6
we missed
years.
Oh,
We missed
I
it.
know.
We
So that was
literally-
another.
We missed it like.
We missed
oh,
it by about 12
7
months.
No, it was less than that. It was like 7 or 8 months.
So you were out
So we
of it
cooked
for
ourselves.
years. We paid a little bit of CGT or a lot?
That's coming.
We'll see what happens with the accountant.
that's-
Hey, you paid your fucking house off. Who cares?
Yeah, that's it.
Yeah, exactly.
Okay, so we sold Burley Waters. And look, maybe the apportioning rule, maybe it was your home for 5 or 10 years, it was an investment for 1 or... There'll be a facet of it, because it was acquired as your principal place of residence.
Yeah, correct.
Correct.
You've just then had a new one for a while. So
That's
Yes.
right.
watch this space. But you've then paid the home off in full.
Yeah.
Okay, how did that feel?
Yeah, it was great.
Yeah, it was
Still.
Incredible. Like I was even doing the numbers and going, we could still be paying this house off when we're retiring. Like, how does that even work? Because we did a reno, so drew down on the equity in the house, did the reno, which we then, the mortgage brokers signed you up for another 27 years. We never dropped our repayments. Like, we've always kept them at the same rate. So,
Yep.
the interest rates drop. But yeah, just to visualize being in your 60s or 70s and still paying your primary, and then all of a sudden it's gone.
It's
Like,
gone.
If anyone gets a mortgage after 35, they're going to be paying it off typically at 65
Yeah.
with their super to clear the back. Then you're going to reno. So anyone who gets a mortgage at 40, you're going to use your super to pay it off. And then there's these brokers that are like, oh, keep your payment the same.
yeah.
Oh, pay weekly. Well, listen, fucking genius. If that worked for everybody, no one would need a fucking... Like, come on, really? These are simple things.
Yeah.
Unlike what we're teaching, obviously, a bit more complex. But so I did the numbers. So by selling the home, the old home, you save about $361,000 in interest on the old home. Now, at today's rate, if you were still going at the 6s, not where we were,
Yeah.
it's actually more, because 560 grand would be about 1.2 million in principal and interest.
Yeah.
So, which is only 127%. You borrow 5 and paybacks 5 plus 6. So you saved hundreds of thousands of dollars.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So it's been mind-blowing.
But also then, forget the interest, you don't have a home loan payment to make.
Yeah.
anymore.
And we don't have a car loan. And we don't have the
cleared
credit
the car
cards.
loan. We also had a loan
solar.
against the solar.
Solar
So
panels.
cleared that as
all
well.
So you
gone.
guys are cheering.
Yeah, we're like, how did this happen? It was just mind-boggling. So yeah, we've had to pretty much remap all of our concepts.
I was going to
beliefs.
say, does that then change your mindset, your goals? Are they different? Are they bigger, smaller?
Overall, the goals have stayed the same.
Okay.
the end, like the North Star for us has never moved.
But the trajectory of it and the speed of it has
Yeah,
accelerated.
Well, what is that North Star? What are the goals? Because, okay, we've sold an old home that we turned into an investment. We've paid off our home in full. We've got no car debt, no credit card, just no debt there. Have we done any investing?
yes, we've done a little bit of
A
investing.
little bit of investing?
Yeah,
Dabbled?
We've
We
dabbled?
dabbled. We had some good advice given to us.
Okay.
So yeah, we've got the 2 investment properties, dual occupancies.
Okay.
One is just about coming up to practical completion.
Mm-hmm.
Another one's just about to kick off.
Okay.
And then we've set up our self-managed super fund.
You guys are killing it.
Yeah, so we've got one investment property within that.
So we've got
Victoria.
2 in our personal name, 1 in super.
Yeah.
So we've got 3 investment properties.
And one more coming up as well in Victoria. And
Wow,
our
that's
personal name.
been very recent. Yeah.
Very recent.
Okay, so 4 investment properties.
Yeah.
So no home loan. So 12 months. April, June, 14 months. No home loan, no car loan, no solar debt, no debt. 4 investment properties and a partridge in a pear tree.
Correct.
Does it seem real?
Nope.
No, no, it does not seem real. It's been,
It's not until you
astronomical.
stop and actually think and look at it, then you're like, oh, wow, okay.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So what's the overall goal then? What is that North Star?
So I
Or
mean,
is it different, or is it a team star?
well, I think the
Team.
core's changed. I mear our girls are 13 and 15.
Yep.
And our eldest daughter's now started talking about, going to university.
Okay.
And she even brought up this week, like, I'd really love to go and study overseas.
Okay.
And something like that, I like being able to support her in something like that. Previously, we were like, well, we could never
Yeah.
have the cash flow to fund that. So it's even like, well, maybe that's something we could look at considering.
Wow, that's pretty cool.
Yeah, it's
Yeah.
Amazing. So, even the potentials that we could offer our children are changing.
Yeah.
And I think as you level up, it's like almost like a new horizon. So even though the core goals haven't changed, I guess the scope of those goals changes.
So the goals and desires are still there, but it's actually the ability or capacity to achieve them now.
Yeah.
Yeah, we could do that.
Yeah.
We could do that for her.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And I guess the other North Star for us, we both quite enjoy traveling.
Okay.
And part of the story Tania didn't mention is we actually met in London.
Okay.
Yeah. And Tania's a Kiwi. Actually, you haven't brought that up either.
No, I'm both. I'm New Zealand and Australian.
Yeah.
We'll claim you. It's
Yeah.
fine.
Yeah. So Tania took a massive leap. She went over to London by herself. I went with a mate, and that's how we met.
Okay.
But I guess circling back to that, when I moved back to Australia, Tania came over. We were camping, so we used to get we went and got a $50, Kmart tent,
Yep.
and little card table, and that's where we started. We started going away on little trips,
Okay.
and that love affair of getting out and being out in nature has kind of carried all the way through. And I guess that's our experiences with our girls as well. We're not in the little Kmart tent anymore,
Yeah.
but
No.
we still like going away and having experiences with them when they're in that real critical fundamental ages that we can have that connection with them. So that's something that's one of the North Stars, is to be able to continue that
More
on.
travel.
More travel.
Yeah, and not to have to go to 65 or 67,
Yeah.
still do it when we're actually, young enough to enjoy it and do the hiking trails and that type of thing.
Okay. So you've now got choice,
Yeah.
Yeah.
so to speak, freedom, financial choice. You can take the kids away. You can, really, what do you got to work for? You got to work to pay the bills, enjoy yourself, travel a bit, get some investments underway. I want to go back for a second, but because things are very comfortable now. He didn't want to sell.
No, she didn't want to sell.
Like, I'll never sell.
Yeah.
So I want to go back from the I'll never sell, and then I'm going to think into see, he said sell, he said sell.
Yeah.
Talk to everyone at home about that, because you're not going to take oh, yeah, okay, I'll sell because this fat little fucking idiot on the Zoom said sell. Like, that doesn't happen overnight. Talk through that, because this happens for people at home and they are stuck in this dialogue, or if you're in your head, you're dead. They're stuck. I've still had people now, like, guys, I'm going to fire you if you don't sell.
Yeah.
Like, you're paying 80 grand a year, you don't need to pay. You know, like, talk through that dialogue. How do you negotiate that together as a couple, as a family? What then finally clicks? How long does it take for yourselves, like just for people at home?
I think I was influenced by the barbecue mafia, and I forget in my earlier days, someone had said to me, "Well, once you buy a property, you don't sell because there's transaction costs involved, and it's going to go up in value, so you never sell." So I think that was playing in my head, but there wasn't any strategy behind that per se. It was just a belief.
You would also say that that's our superannuation fund, because you're not working, you're not going to have enough of your wages to make it comfortable enough when we retire.
Well, these are the motherhood statements, right?
Yeah.
You invest or buy a house. You don't, and I hear it all the time. People on site, you don't sell because you paid stamp duty and you pay sale costs. That's like saying, don't go to work because I get taxed. I want the net profit.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And I think that's for us, the selling the house, changing the mindset, paying off the primary loan, we've had to kind of unlearn these beliefs, and you don't quite know where they come from. I think it is a bit of the barbecue mafia, or it's grandma said something when I was young.
Subconsciously just got in there somehow, right?
Yeah, and I can still see it now when I chat to people around, what we're doing, or different strategies, and you can
How does that go down, actually? So how do you go with friends and family, and is it something you keep to yourself?
I think when we
a little bit.
I think when we started, we were quite excited and wanted to, share. Like, surely everyone wants to know this.
Yeah.
And some people were genuinely interested, and others were like, "Oh no, I like going out to the clubs and too much. No, don't tell my partner."
So do I. I can afford to do it whenever the fuck I want now.
Yeah,
because I have a plan.
Yeah, that's right.
Yeah, no one likes to be told that they can't have something.
Or to tell themselves
that
you should restrict
It's
yourself.
like going on a diet,
Yeah.
A financial diet.
Yeah, it's not a sexy topic.
Yeah.
So do you find at first you're really excited, you're sharing with it like your mate did what you said.
Yeah.
You're like, wow, this is great because it's new to you.
Yeah.
And you can see it working, right?
Yeah. Yeah.
But then do you find people are a bit dismissive, or it's too good to be true? Or what's your more common experience with people?
I find people are very skeptical.
Yeah. Okay.
And you can kind of feel that I don't really want you to tell me this because I might have to change my patterns. That's probably...
That's the underlying truth, right?
Underlying current.
I don't want to be told that I'm doing something wrong. I'm really smart. I'm not an idiot.
Yeah, you can see it in their eyes, like that fear of like, that $200 at the club, or that I put through the pokies, or I spend on my boat will go. So it's some people take it from a fear perspective. So for us now, it's only, if someone's interested, we'll talk about it.
If they ask.
Yeah. And we get to share it with the community. The community's amazing.
Yeah. We've done somehow we've done a very good, amazing job with that.
Yes.
So I was saying to people, I watched it. I used to be the first to comment on everything, right?
Yeah.
If I had time, I find time somewhere. Now I'm kind of like popcorn.
Yeah.
I just let it, and I think as long as people aren't advising people like, hey, I'm unlicensed, but I think the community do a great job in like, hey, run your own race, do this, do that. Pretty cool.
Yeah.
It's pretty cool.
Yeah.
It's like you do you, boo.
Yeah.
Everyone's on the same journey, but it's a different journey. So it's great to have that support. And I think, that's who we talk to about the journey and ask questions.
Yeah.
If someone's, external to that wants to know, then we'll share it. But the community's great to bounce that off. And we just met so many amazing people, so many like-minded people, and everyone's really pumped, for this journey.
What about the kids? Did you ever talk about finances as the girls were growing up, or do you not, or do you, or more or less? Or
We
how
probably talk
involved
to
are
them
they?
more now.
Okay.
I think we've always talked about finances with them.
Yeah.
But I think as they're getting older, they sort of, I know our oldest is more aware because she's working herself now.
Okay.
Probably we explain it a little bit different now. This
Okay.
is what we're doing. This is why we're doing it.
Yeah.
And you should, think about doing it this way. I think it is slowly sinking in.
Okay.
But it will be a journey for them too.
And what about budget-wise? Are you guys still operating to a budget, given the home's paid off in full, or are you just going free for all?
Oh, no.
No,
No, our FFS is like locked in. But that's the best part. Like, I'm a freak in the sheets Excel-wise. So I used to be jumping into my Excel sheet every other day, like up trying to get a track of our credit card and what did we spend and what's not budgeted. All right, well, that has to come out of the savings. We had quite a complicated system. Now I'm only in there maybe twice a month.
I was getting weekly cash flows too.
Yeah, I do. I email her a weekly cash flow update.
Not
Trying to get you in
anymore.
the sheets twice a week. Different sheets.
Not anymore now.
No.
We haven't had that.
No, you don't need to.
It's interesting, right, that we love to overcomplicate things as humans to feel smart and in control, right?
Yeah.
What Beck and I have designed simplifies the shit out of it.
So easy.
Yeah.
It's just like, this is our FFF. It's there every week. Next week, it'll pop up. We haven't had an issue with that, with the groceries, with the bills, with the
So
fuel.
any instances where you got to say no to the girls and no because, or were you pretty practical people before the restructure?
Pretty practical before.
Okay.
Yeah. We don't say no, but we do sort of say we have to work out the numbers. We just
Yeah.
yeah.
Okay. But you're not frivolous. It's not like you guys are spending frivolously anyway. So
No.
pretty okay.
Yeah.
So that's what I always wonder with kids. It's a big change. If you're just buying shit every day, takeaway on the way home from sport every day, whatever they want, to no, this is what we're functioning with. That can be a big change for some families.
Yeah.
That can be hard to process.
Yeah. No, I think with the girls, like what we spent on them was probably more experiences. So we'd go out and take them away camping.
Yep.
That's probably not as frequent. We went through a period there post-COVID. I think we're away every second weekend.
Yep.
So we've kind of, I guess, changed the frequency. But I think even that now, the oldest one got to a point where she's like, oh, I want to hang out with my friends and I want to go to the shop.
Yeah.
So we're like, oh, we're getting to that point where
I
it's
don't
not
need
cool.
you
I
anymore.
know.
It's not cool.
Oh,
She's
it's
coming
not-
back again. She actually asked to go camping.
She did. So that's
Well, now they bring the friends and they go talk to the boys in the campsite. Or whatever.
Yes. I think probably.
yeah, we did bring, buy a little pop-up tent if they do want to bring a friend.
Yeah,
So
okay.
yeah,
Not a
so that changes.
Not a
the
boyfriend. No,
dynamics.
no.
Not a
Take a big mag like
Yeah.
stick. Okay. And what about, okay, so got a few investments on foot. Do you know what the end looks like yet? Have you thought about, what it'd be nice to have this many investments or this much income, or we think maybe now the dream home to semi-retire is here. Where are you heading now? What's the plan? Because you're killing it. I mean,
Yes.
12 odd months, no home loan, no other, like, all your debt's tax deductible.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Like, woe is me.
Yeah, I know. That's
I mean, look how fucking happy you guys are. We're trying to find something to dispute or debate over. It's like,
Yeah, well,
put the toilet seat down. Like,
Yeah.
everything's going great in your house.
yeah, it's hard to. Yeah, it's taken a while for it to sink in. Yeah.
Is there a bigger goal now, or?
Is there a bigger goal?
I think we're open to different things. Like we've got the family home now, so the 4-bedroom.
So we
home.
love our home.
Yeah. So we're fine. We don't need to upgrade that.
There goes the ungulatus.
hang
Here
on,
we go.
maybe not.
Well, I feel probably because the girls are getting older now, and I think the big family home could probably be scaled back a bit,
Okay.
and not necessarily a home, but an apartment. I think in the last year, seeing the options that are around.
I think she's seen a few
Maybe.
penthouses.
I was going to say like a 3-bedroom sub penthouse, ocean view,
Something.
low maintenance.
Yes,
Pool,
yes.
gym,
It's all ticking the
Walk
box.
to the cafe and the bar.
And before last year, we would never have
No, it
even
wouldn't have even been on the
contemplated
radar.
it.
Mm.
But I look around the house now going, okay, well, that's got to be renovated and that's getting a bit
Mm.
old. And do we really need this?
Yeah.
So, yeah,
Could be a.
I'm emotionally withdrawing from my family home, as in the
Okay.
house, not the family.
Not the family.
Not the family.
the house.
See ya.
Yeah.
The actual physical
yeah,
dwelling.
the physical
Yeah.
dwelling is
Mm.
probably
Well, serves a purpose,
correct.
right?
Yeah.
Until it doesn't,
Yeah.
and as they age and all that sort of stuff. So you might end up down in a 3-bedroom sub penthouse on the beach at Burleigh.
Yeah. Well, we wouldn't say no to that. Yeah.
Maybe we should start crunching some numbers.
Yeah, and I think that's the thing with the community and seeing different people's journeys. I think there's options that probably weren't even on our radar that we're now going, well, we could do
Could
that.
probably do
Yeah.
that. Yeah.
You know,
Yeah,
I mean, we've had the house, the garden. I'm out there mowing the lawn and
Yep.
cutting the yard every couple
Cleaning
of
the
weeks.
pool.
So yeah, it could probably open up opportunities for more experiences, and I think that's where we'd like to to go into the future.
Okay.
And I think from a financial standpoint, it's just having the freedom. It's not really about having things.
Yeah.
It's about getting our time back. And that's, the journey. That's where we'd love to end up, is like getting our time back. If we want to work, we can choose to work.
Yeah.
But it's having that choice. And, if you're tied to a 25, 27-year mortgage, if you want somewhere to live, it's not really a choice.
It's not a choice.
Yeah. So
You're a
that
slave.
that freedom's kind of the end goal and what that entails.
Okay. What about the girls with their first homes?
Again, it's probably something I would have thought, we won't be in a position to help. But like the potential to go and, study overseas, then that is, we do want to create that generational wealth. And it's probably not even a term I would have used, a year ago.
It's a sexy term.
It is a sexy term. I just didn't think it was, in our horizon.
I love the fact for Beck and I, it's like we, in any generation, the buck stopped and started with us from next to nothing to now we've built something that for generations to come, someone would really have to shit the bed to ruin it.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? Like people are good for a couple of generations and that's pretty cool.
Yeah.
Not that, I'll be dust by the time uncle, great-great-grandpa, G, whatever.
Yeah.
But it's still cool to be that change.
Yeah, that's
really
right.
Cool.
And I think that for our girls, what I've noticed is, social media is very prominent in their lives, even to the point where, our eldest is now going, I'll never be able to afford a house. Like, they hear this negativity.
They're being fed and
Yeah, so I mean, that's a huge thing that we want to pass on. It's the education. It's like, it's tough,
But you
but
can do it.
you can do it. And if you start early and you follow a set and tried path, then you can get
Do you
there.
get involved with the eldest work income at all? Do you help with that?
Yeah, so we as soon as she started, we were like, okay, so let's set up a high interest saver account.
Yep.
She moves, is it over 50%?
Yeah.
Yeah, she's moving over 50% into this high interest saver account. She has a little bit spending because she's got to learn, moderation.
Well, that's why she's working,
behavior.
right? She wants to do a few things with her friends, and
Yeah.
so it's a pretty active role. That's good. So you've given us some structure about, hey, this needs to, that's your mortgage payment that goes over, and to say this is what you can play with.
Yeah, for sure.
like that.
And
That's
I
cool.
think she's always, or especially since we've joined Infinity, seeing us being very conscious with our spend.
Okay.
There's things that we value in our life, and that's where we push our money in towards, and try not to spend on the things that aren't that important to us.
What about are there any big trips planned or anything? I'm hearing like the kids maybe getting that age, go, we want to go hang out with their friends, we don't want to go camping. Have you thought of, I was talking to Casey and Lenny on one of our podcasts, and they're like, Casey, like you only get 12 Christmases with your kids or something, and then they're too cool to, and I was like, that's I'm petrified now. I want the best 12 ever, right?
Yeah.
Have you thought of any like big family trips while they're of that cool age before it's not cool at all?
Yeah, we have. Our girls really want to go to Japan.
Yeah.
I think it's
Right.
quite popular at the moment.
Yeah.
We haven't booked it yet. I'm
No, we
probably the
haven't
one
booked it.
holding it back, going,
Why?
If we have come up with this plan, we go, okay, we'll go, these are the dates. And then we kind of leave it sit for a bit. And then, I don't know, it's probably about 2 weeks later, you go, so we're booking Japan? And I've said yes. I said,
Get it done.
we can do it.
Yeah.
I think, Ty, you're still a bit unsure if it's all going to happen as far as cash flow. Is that what you're worried about?
Yeah, I don't know.
There's something you're still a
something,
bit, maybe you haven't
hesitant.
mortgage is gone. You're
I
like,
know, and that's probably that legacy.
maybe it hasn't
is
really
hold- yeah.
sunk in yet.
It hasn't, yeah.
So maybe we need to start looking at the penthouse to show what's possible.
Yeah.
So then go, shit, well, let's have the holiday before we buy the penthouse.
Oh, that's a good idea.
Yeah.
That's great. Yeah. I've got a new strategy here. It's unfolding live on air, right? Okay.
Yeah.
So,
Okay.
Yeah,
And I
we
mean-
kind of need to do it probably this year before she goes into year 11, year 12.
Well, it gets real serious, right?
Correct.
Yeah.
Yes.
So that's why I was just asking the question.
Yeah.
15, so year 10 at the moment.
You 10.
yeah,
So
10.
school certificate this year.
Yeah.
So it might be the perfect time before 11, 12
Yeah.
for the eldest at least, and for the youngest to actually still want to hang around mum and dad, have fun, have those experiences. Might be Japan, might be multiple places.
Yeah.
I mean,
Yeah, and the girls, we've gone back to see Tanya's family in New Zealand,
yep.
but we've never actually taken the girls on a proper overseas holiday. And I
Okay.
do recall when I was younger, my parents took me to Thailand when I was about 11.
Yeah.
And for me, traveling and seeing another culture, opened up a whole new
Oh,
world of
look,
possibilities.
well-traveled, chill. It helps with cultures, beliefs, so many things, experience life so much.
Yeah. So for us, I'd love that opportunity to
Yeah,
show
I'm
the
gonna have
girls.
to give you a poke.
Okay,
I'm
then.
gonna have to give you a poke on the book, the trip.
Yeah.
Add to the trip. Maybe it's like New Zealand, then New Zealand, Tokyo, then Tokyo, and whatever, right?
Yeah.
Whatever. But
Yeah.
I'd highly encourage you to book it.
Oh,
Yeah.
okay.
There you
Well,
go,
G
Tanya.
says yes.
Yeah, G said yes.
Actually, if you don't book it, you're fired.
Maybe she won't get sphincter pucker now on the booking.
But we're going to
Japan
look for the
trip.
penthouse at the same time.
Yeah, yeah.
No, but I'm serious about this. Like, it'd be really cool and we're doing it live, but
Mm.
to design the next evolution of the strategy. Because if you stand still,
Yeah.
you grow roots. You're not a tree.
That's
Yeah.
true.
You're
Very
growing
true.
or dying.
Mm.
And what really concerns me for anyone is people can become accidentally complacent.
Yeah.
Because one, you can be in shock. We've actually paid the house off. Is this real? But then you can also go, oh, okay, this is real. And then you get the fear of none.
Yeah.
So, and the fear of some. So like, well, I don't want to do anything to ruin this
Yeah.
because we own it now.
Yeah.
All right.
Yeah.
But then as you also say that you're starting to detach from the bricks and mortar served its purpose, that means that you are psychologically searching for something else to attach to.
Yes. Yes.
Does that make sense?
Yeah, it
Because
does
when I
make
start
sense.
talking about the ocean view, for example, Beck and I have just purchased in Mondrian at Burleigh, the two beautiful new, the international first in
Yeah.
Australia.
Yeah.
Yeah.
We bought a beautiful big sub penthouse in there.
Yeah.
And the restaurant opens this week coming. So we'll be there for dinner, get to experience it, get the keys soon. And that's meant to be the cool hit place now, right?
Yeah.
And that was, again, for us, we don't know, maybe we want that sub penthousey lock up and leave, ocean view, maybe, I don't know, you know what I mean? Like,
Yeah.
so, but it's having that next thing to reach for. Now, it may change, but that is a Northstar. What is, okay, we've got some investments, we've got this, we've got education overseas, we've got experiences. It's very important to keep writing things down
Yeah.
and keep reaching for them.
Mm-hmm.
Otherwise, you don't know why your 2 feet hit the ground when you get out of bed in the morning.
Yeah. Yeah.
And you kind of, I call it like the rubber ducky down the stream. You kind of bobble along the stream and everything's really nice, but it's not really headed anywhere. It's just headed down the stream.
Yeah.
So I'd challenge us to do this again in 6 months' time in December, but also maybe in a couple of months' time. But right now in the next few weeks, we look at an evolution of your strategy.
Yeah.
To, okay, we're growing or dying. We don't want to grow roots and be planted. Here's where we are.
Yeah.
Right? That's not varsity forever. Okay. What is the next evolution as the kids get a bit older, study abroad or wherever they may study, etc.? What does that look and feel like?
Yeah. And it's probably something we've got a few ideas, but we probably don't have that. Right, that's the North Star as far as, where do we want to live next?
Realestate.com tonight.
Oh, I love the look of that Burleigh apartment.
Travel. Yeah, it's beautiful down there.
And Burleigh's like blowing up now.
Wild. Absolutely. And that could be a really strategic decision of something that's half out of the ground right now on the beach. You go, you know what? I'll go buy that. And we've got a year and a half, 2 years to sell varsity and ride that as interest rates go down and values go up.
Yeah.
I'll go lock in my price over here. It's happening. There could be, that's what I did down there.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Could be something really strategic.
Yeah. And look, we have.
Because then that might be like 2 years' time. So that's HS, year 11 and 12 out of the way.
I mean, we've got the 13-year-old.
But I mean, apartment life, on the beach, terrible. By then,
Terrible.
15-year-old
Yeah,
girl
true.
to be on the beach with a friend. Oh, terrible, right?
Yeah.
Spare room if the eldest is overseas studying.
Yeah.
I don't know. I'm just putting a few thought bubbles.
I think you have thought about that, haven't you? An apartment on the.
I have.
I mean, but that again wouldn't even been considered previously. But yeah, we're starting to think differently, I guess, around what's possible.
I don't know. Less
Yeah.
cleaning, less maintenance. You talked about
He's
time and
psychic.
choice. She's like, oh, I'd love a place I don't have to invest.
yeah.
You go, oh, we don't need any of that crap anymore. Get rid of that.
Yeah,
Oh, just throwing it out there.
yeah,
I'll let you two have a debate about it.
yeah. No, it sounds very exciting.
Well, let's revisit this in the next couple of weeks.
Yeah.
But I want to pick your brain for people listening in going, hang on, we kept our old home. Shit, we could sell it with no tax within 6 years. What are we doing? Quick, right? Call the accountant. And then they'll put you to sleep with their extravagant personalities. But what would be some practical steps and guidance you'd say to people on your journey that you've learnt or you've had to overcome, or any difficulties or successes or wins, what could you share with people listening in going, hey, you definitely need to explore this, or stop doing this, or start doing this? What could you share with some people tuning in to help them?
So I would say for us, it's keep it simple. I think we were overcomplicating things. And even when I heard about the FFF, I'm like, that sounds way too simplistic. So I think keeping it simple, having a strategy that you're both aligned to, and then as couples, you merge your money. Tanya and I still had our own, separate savings, even though we had a joint account. Yeah.
You know what I say about that.
Yeah, that's right.
Yeah.
Something to do with fluids, I'm not sure.
Yeah. So we share bodily fluids and beds, but we don't share bank accounts?
Yeah.
Fucking hell.
Yeah. So, come together as a partner.
You're going to be a team.
Yeah.
You're going to be working together.
You can still, I've got $100 and you've got $100 a week. You can still adult and spend what you want, or buy each other presents, but it's that, come together as a team.
Yeah.
Like,
It really is.
row in the same direction.
100%.
Same time, same stroke, like together.
Yeah. And even from, a relationship that is going to stand the testimony of time, I think, as you say, you got to row together.
Yeah.
And some of my friends and, colleagues that I've seen kind of get into trouble, it's because they're kind of, they're not joining up, or they're going in the opposite direction. So keep it simple, come together, join your finances, and have an aligned strategy that you
talk
both
about
get
it.
excited about.
Yeah.
You actually have to sit down and talk about what you want.
How
to
often do you guys talk money these days?
Not that much anymore, but we do come together and actually go, let's work through this bit, or how are we going? Have you got this tracker? Or
So you're not getting this cash flows email twice a week anymore?
No, that's once a month.
Yeah, okay, once a month. Yeah, okay.
Once a month.
Okay.
But we do sit down and realign ourselves of what we're doing.
Yeah.
That's probably what we do more now, since we've joined Infinity.
And I'm going to loop back around to the start of the session. You had a bit of a giggle at each other. And I said, why did you find Infinity? It sounds like there was a difference of opinion in the relationship about what you should or shouldn't do. Is that a safe summary? Or should we sell? Should we buy? And Tina's like, I told you you'd save it.
Yes. Yeah.
So talk a little bit to that for people at home, like, because we're all individuals, right? But we're teams.
Yeah.
How do you deal with that as a couple? Do you find a common ground? Go see your accountant or broker or someone you trust. How do you work through that? Because one's going left, one's going right. Eventually somebody has to compromise.
Yeah.
Or we have to jointly compromise, but that doesn't usually get an outcome. One says sell, one says don't sell. Like, there's no compromise on that.
Yeah.
And there wasn't a compromise. Well, there wasn't a compromise to that point before Infinity.
Right.
So I was still saying we should really sell this. And
Yeah.
he'll be like, no, this is our super fund. And go, well, are you sure? And there'd be discussions. It wouldn't be heated, but I knew I'd wear him down somewhere.
Hey, all men lose, right? Eventually we're on the couch.
Well, you helped me with that. But it's so... We knew we had to do something. So then I would bring it up again. Maybe we should sell Ballerina and we could pay this. Or no. But I think you must have been thinking about it subconsciously, that it was an idea to do.
Yeah.
There was something there because it wasn't
'Cause I
hard for
didn't-
you to
No.
go, okay, we're doing
No,
it.
and for
It just
me,
needed to come with the data, maybe.
It
Well,
just
no,
had to come away from not me saying it.
Yeah.
Well, no, towards the end, I would say, okay, we sell Ballerina, what next?
Yeah.
And we didn't have the what next. And
Yeah.
I was concerned because
Right.
And I didn't have the
Tanya
what
loves improving her nest. So I thought the what next would be, all right, we're going to do up the
Full reno.
Yeah, full reno. That was my concern, is that.
I've solved that because we're just going to sell as is and we're getting the penthouse.
Yeah, so my concern is we sell Ballerina and a lot of that equity we built up for our savings would
Get
It's just
dumped back
gone.
into
yeah,
home.
would get done spending
And
on
you've
the
lost
primary
that asset.
And yeah, and I knew the
Yeah.
primary would. You can't claim against that from an insurance, from an interest perspective.
Okay.
Yeah, so that was my hesitation.
So-
What's next? We sell Ballerina. Okay, what are we doing with it?
And I didn't have the what's next when he
Yeah.
asked me that question.
So we were looking for.
So you needed someone to come with or together to find that if we sell, what's next?
Correct. That's what we were looking for. Going back to that jigsaw puzzle. I think we had the pieces, but we didn't know how to put it together. So we were looking for that partner, independent partner who's a specialist, backed up by experience, backed up by real life example. So that's what we're looking for. And I guess we didn't even know it existed prior to finding Infinity.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
I love it.
And getting the support that you can take those risks
Yeah.
And
You get that
along the way.
little comfort blanket. It's like, it's fine. Done the numbers.
okay.
Okay.
You'll
can
be
do
okay.
Yeah, we're both okay. Someone said we can do this.
Okay. I like it.
Yeah.
Maybe we
I
can.
like it. Okay.
So we did.
Before we wrap, we're going to do this. We're going to redo a strategy, and we might do a little sub session together in a couple of months.
Yeah.
I want to see what happens to our brains when we find a new common plan.
Mm-hmm.
It might not be. I might be off mark, but I reckon there could be a new common planning. Whether it's right now, 6 months, 2 years. I'm just being a bit strategic here to think of just some things I've heard today.
Yeah.
What could be,
Yeah.
and then map that out.
No, that'd be
So, like,
Okay.
reverse engineer what is a highly likely outcome in 2 to 4 years.
Yeah.
Because knowing that there's a plan, like you say, we're going on this holiday, there's something to aim for. We're going to, so we can reverse engineer that and go, well, we could do that in 2 or 4 and play with those numbers.
Yeah.
Because I think if you've got those numbers in front of you and then what,
Mm-hmm.
it's easier to act.
Yeah.
Ah,
Whereas at the moment, it's easier for that inaction because it's pretty comfortable. We've got some investing going on and we could kind of just go along with the flow.
Yeah.
I think the trip needs to happen.
Mm.
There's going to be some serious spending there to enjoy it and do it once and do it right. It's one of those once in a lifetime trips as a family.
Yeah.
yeah.
You got to do it properly. I mean, shit, go business class. Go all out. Hey, are you going to do it again with the girls?
Probably not. They'll probably do it themselves with their own friends.
Yeah. And it's this time, you know, they're developing. They're never going to be 13, 15 again. Like that very first impact of, you know, going, seeing a different culture and immersing themselves. You know, I know how much it affected me as, you know, when I was younger and my parents did it. I think it's that impact, you know, it's like the first experience of traveling overseas.
And the sooner you book it, the cheaper it will be. So you can really start to look at some deals and go, oh, if we book it and then go at the death, it's going to be the same in economy as it would have been in business.
Yeah.
If we book it now, we can probably cut a deal and look at something and really plan and give them something to focus on and us as a family unit to focus on.
Mm-hmm.
Plus, we'll simultaneously build a new potential plan.
Yeah.
Sounds exciting.
Yeah.
Could
And I
be.
guess also with Infinity, like we're actually bringing in positive cash flow now. Whereas before we'd put money into these savings accounts, but then we'd like, where are we? Where'd that money go? Yeah. So it's been a very different experience.
Oh, well done. You should be bloody proud of yourselves.
Thank
But
you.
I'm more excited for the next bit, even though this is super exciting. I'm more excited for that. And I'm like a pit bull. I'm like, I got lockjaw now. I'm like, all right, what are we doing? What are we doing? How are we doing it? So
Yeah.
watch this space. But before we finish up today, anything you want to ask me at all?
Yeah, so I guess with our strategy, one thing we have noticed, the way the team have set it up, it seems like assets come in and activate at different times. So first investment property is going to be completed in this month, and our second one's maybe
Very
1 month.
chronologically
Yeah.
strategic.
Another one's to 2027,
Yeah.
2029. And I guess for us, it's like, well, what kind of going back to what you were saying, like we've got to have these goals and how much we should have it at certain periods. So with the assets hitting at different times, is that something that Infinity does specifically? So you have time to build up equity? Yeah.
It's a specific strategy I've used personally to create substantial wealth.
Yeah.
Which is why I'm saying, hey, for example's sake, you jump online today and you say, hey, there's this 3-bedroom sub penthouse on the beach, and I reckon that's only 200 grand more than what we could sell Varsity for today. And you're like, what? Show me. Do you know what I mean? And you're like,
Yeah.
we can find 200 grand, right? Well, strategically, and this is the only way I know how to do this. Real example.
Yeah.
We bought Eve as a home back when I was at Hope Island, before I bought Benoa and built Benoa, right? We bought Eve $1.85 million, 3-bedroom sub penthouse. We bought it, moved into it, and we sold. But then in between that, we bought Benoa and sold that, and we lived in that. Now we got Eve, then I bought Broadbeach, and we're renovating Broadbeach, Eve, and now it looks like I've sold Eve this weekend for $3.35 million.
Congratulations.
That's my home.
Yeah.
Right? Now I wanted a bit more, but you know, it is what it is. It's still, now, where can I put $185,000 down, 10%, and a few years later, 4 years roughly, 4 years later, 2021, yeah, 4 years later, have got a return 3.35, less the 185. I've made way more than 100% on my money.
Yeah.
Now, risks off the plan. Everyone says, don't do it. Don't. That's the buyer's agents who don't wear socks that just want to charge you 20 grand for something on the internet. Good luck to them, right? Everyone's got a different business model. But for me personally, personal wealth, where can I put down on a $2 million sub penthouse, where can you put down 200 grand, knowing that interest rates are going down, which means values are going up because people can afford to borrow more and spend more.
Yeah.
We have a crisis of housing in Australia. And where my brain's going for you guys is lifestyle through to semi-retirement. Imagine if you could afford to be on the ocean now. You would have made a lot more than you probably have in varsity. So it's all of these little, I call it PhD. It's so complicated, you need a PhD, which means push here, dummy. That's how complicated it is. That's my version of PhD. I like a shortcut.
Yeah.
It's not a shortcut, but I like it to be non-complicated, that knowing you can strategically put a deposit down, and that's happening then, and you're right, at the moment we're in this, what I call generational wealth, weird opportunity, housing crisis, sadly homes are a commodity, interest rates going down, actually strong economy. So there's no real reason for rates to go down. You want a job, you got one. Don't like your boss there, an arsehole like me, go next door, they'll pay you more. Really hard to get staff. Pretty strong economy. Everyone that wants a job's got a job or can get a new job.
Yeah.
Like, it's kind of weird.
Yeah.
Yeah?
Yeah.
So if they continue to put rates down, which is the talk, that will let people borrow more, which means people will spend more. There'll be more competition.
Yeah.
So where can I get in? We don't have enough homes and we can't catch up. We don't have enough trades. We don't have enough suppliers. And the government really deliberately controls and restricts housing supply.
Yeah.
Right? So based on all of those data inputs,
Yeah.
it's highly likely we'll continue to have pretty solid growth in the next 3 to 5 years. Stable. Hey, if I buy for $1 million, grow 6%, 7%, I make 60, 70 grand a year.
Yeah.
So I've got to put 100 grand down to probably get 60 or 70% back this year.
Yeah.
Oh, sorry, 60 to 70,000. If I put 100 in, it's highly likely in the next year or two, it'll grow at least 100.
Yeah.
Yeah, absolutely.
Do the math.
Yeah. That's exciting.
So for me, that strategy for yourselves is, where can I know when we're not in a market that's flatline, in a growing market or bottoms of market? I bought a lot in Melbourne this year, bottom of the market. Listen to Doc Wilson, the last month or two, people of fear of being involved, phobia, gone to FOMO. Melbourne's starting to have a really, really strong recovery, which it had to.
Yeah.
Properties were selling below replacement cost. So strategically, we like, and this is where I've made a lot of money, it's not in the business, is I put a deposit down and I wait.
Yep.
And I put a deposit down and I wait. And then somebody's shiny object Titus, it's shiny, it's new, it's in warranty, they can fix things. It's got a bit of a, razzle dazzle. It's desirable, it's not old and shit. I get a premium on my rent if I'm renting it out, or it's nice for me to live in if I live in it for a while.
Yep.
This kind of works.
Yeah. Yeah, I guess that's...
I mean, I showed like $110 million of real estate at REM the other week that we've bought just in the last 3 or 4 years. Not all of our portfolio, I just showed that.
Yeah.
And if you look at it, most of it is that.
Yeah.
Yeah, amazing.
They've been off the plan, or not finished homes and units.
Yeah.
Because I'm not servicing debt. If I buy today, it's only worth what I paid today.
Yep.
If I put a deposit today at what it's worth and wait, in a growing market, I have a profit. If the market turns, that's a different issue. But there's no data inputs that tell me the market will settle or go the other way right now.
Yeah. Well, it's supply and demand, right? As you say, housing supply, and the government's not going to do enough to...
We can't catch up. It's physically impossible.
Yeah.
They can go release all the land in the world. We don't have the trades.
Yeah.
We don't have the resources. We don't have... You can't get people to work 6 days a week anymore.
Yeah.
Carpenter the other day on a site, I listened to a conversation, I'm not going to work. They wanted him to catch up because of weather. He goes, mate, I'm a chippy. I don't work Saturday. And I'm like, he goes, mate, you're on good. He goes, yeah, I'm on 450 grand a year. And I'm going, fucking hell, I should have been a chippy.
Jesus, I picked the wrong career.
Yeah. He's like, I don't work Saturdays.
That's crazy.
Oh, okay, cool.
Yeah.
I think, and we wonder why housing's I mean, look at the Gold Coast Light Rail.
Yeah.
So, they were on, I won't name the company. You're like, remember, boys, we're on an hourly rate. Safety first.
Yeah.
And then the whole job they were meant to do for, I don't know, 5-year contract, they finished the whole job in like 5 months, or they would have had millions of dollars of fees, right?
Yeah.
It's like, we actually need to own that we are the reason to blame for a lot of issues. We become really lazy.
Yeah.
Some people don't work hard, but generally in society, we're supervising the whole, we're scrolling social media, we're clocking on at 9:01, leaving at 4:59. Pretty lazy, right? My grandfather would roll over in his grave. He used to say a fair day's pay for a hard day's work.
Yeah.
Not a fair day's pay for like a bloody hard day's pay, you know?
Yeah.
And if you impress the boss, you might get an extra shift. So,
Yeah.
Answer that long answer, but to that question, it's very strategic of making sure that we're making money for clients. Because as you know, if we're not, I'll buy it back off you.
Yeah.
And I don't want to go collect all my clients' properties back off them.
No, that's it.
So we've got to do it once and do it right.
Yeah.
Yeah. So very strategic.
Yeah. So that's a big insight for us, is how those assets land at different times and the cash flow.
Yeah. And also, you can, when you get comfortable, you can get to a position of going further than you could with anyone else. So we see a lot of our clients where they go, okay, we can do 3 or 4. I can do 8.
Yeah.
But you'll have to agree with me to sell number 1 to settle number 5.
Yeah.
And sell number 2 to settle number 6. Does that make sense?
Yeah, no, it does.
Because if you think about this, if we're $1 million, just say $1 million. So you went and bought 5 units on the Goldie on the beach, just as an example, so because you're locals.
Yeah.
That's $5 million of property. If each one grows statistically at 6 or 7%, that's 60, 70 grand a year. 6 5s to 30, that's 300 grand a year.
That's mad.
In growth while you're waiting and you're not servicing the debt yet.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So you can quite strategic. Now, this doesn't work forever. This works right now.
Yeah.
I used to, and I'm using that example, I used to hate apartments. I was the antichrist. My clients from 2012 or 13 or 6 or 2, I hated units. But now, different, right? So I evolve on my personal journey, but when you've invested in a few $100 million of real estate, you kind of learn a thing or two about real estate.
Yeah.
I don't touch stocks. Go talk to someone else, one of the financial planners. So at the moment, there's some pretty simple strategies that can make a lot of money without a lot of effort. That won't always be the case.
Yeah. It's about timing, isn't it? Yeah. Yeah. It seems to be a prime market to take that opportunity.
Sadly, is going to become, and it is becoming, the haves and the have-nots. Like your daughter believing at 15 years old, I'll never own a home. Like that narrative being fed already, that's really scary to me.
Yeah.
Not like, hey, if you budget and do this and do, it's almost like the system schooling that, oh, you'll never own a home. Yeah. That's not the case.
No.
It's not the case at all. But it's not easy to acquire a home.
No.
Now, you can do it with a very little deposit now, but it's not easy to save a deposit. It's not easy. It's not easy, but it's absolutely possible.
Yeah.
Absolutely.
What's hard for people is making change to get something that isn't easy.
Yeah.
But that's not exciting to talk about on social media. They'd be like, this dickhead going, oh, you should budget. Right? It's not a very how our business has become as big as it is, considering I took a really shit, non-sexy topic.
Yeah.
I don't understand. We've done a very good job to take something very fucking boring and make it very fucking sexy. Bit of a freak in the sheets.
Your community thinks it's pretty sexy.
Yeah, the community's really fun. We've worked really hard on that, doing all the community days. I think we're in Tassie in the next couple of weeks.
Yeah,
That'd be awesome.
WA, so we're working really, we're just in Adelaide, working really hard on making sure everyone gets a chance to come together besides just the REMs and the events and that.
Yeah.
But that's really important to us. Like it's a big way to buck the system and break the system.
Yeah.
Because the more people sharing, the more success, and even struggles. Oh, hey, I'm struggling with this. Oh, how do you fix that? Like just people helping each other.
Yeah.
The bigger that gets, the more it breaks the system and breaks the mold.
Yeah.
Not big enough yet, but fuck, it's getting pretty big.
Getting pretty big.
Getting pretty
like,
big.
whoa, pinch myself. So.
Yeah, the last REM was the biggest so far.
Yeah, I think 600 and so. Yeah, they get into sort of 600-700 people. We've got to stop there because the room's not big enough.
Yeah.
Then we'll have to move to a convention center instead of the hotel ballroom. But the Christmas party this year is a few thousand.
Oh, that's exciting.
We were at the last
How are you going to
one.
top SeaWorld?
Oh, I've topped
my
it, don't
goodness.
you worry.
Really?
Oh, really?
Oh, yeah.
Wow.
29th of November.
Oh, my goodness.
It was awesome.
Yeah,
I'm not going to say
awesome.
where because we're going to have police, security, but I'm absolutely going to top last year.
That's,
Ooh, I can't wait.
yeah, that's going to be huge.
Dress up.
Yeah, another cost, yeah.
okay.
Yeah, always bit of fun, right? And we're going to do 500 grand this year for Kmart Salvos.
Oh, that's awesome.
So we're going to smash it.
Yeah, that's been another amazing thing with Infinity is like how much you guys give back to the community.
We love it.
Yeah,
It's fun.
It's amazing. It's fantastic.
Very
Yeah,
rare. You just don't find that in companies.
No.
yeah, but we're doing okay. And I say, like, in fairness to newer businesses,
Yeah.
everyone can have a business. Once you've been doing something long enough, well enough, you've got the proof of it,
Yeah.
you can really give back. Some businesses are doing it really tough, right?
Yeah.
We're fortunate and blessed enough to be in a good position. We've worked hard for a long time. We can give back. But that's also, our advice is reflective of that,
Yeah.
right? We don't need to take risk in our business. We're doing really well.
Yeah.
Therefore, we don't need our clients to take a lot of risk because it would be silly when we don't need to.
Yeah.
Same reason we say no to a lot of people.
Yeah.
I don't have any balls left to be kicked. You know what I mean? Like, if I know you're a bad fit, I'm just going to say no and give their money back.
Yeah.
Whereas a lot of businesses are desperate to take any client and their advice is desperate to make money, so we're very lucky that we're in that position and we're finding the right vibe and tribe to be like, hey, these things matter to us. We'd love you to embrace them.
Yeah.
And if we've made you a fuckload of money or saved you a shitload of money, please just give a little bit back.
Yeah.
And that's super cool.
Yeah,
So
that's awesome.
I actually didn't know Kmart, and I only heard walking past on camera because they had a current affair there.
Oh, did they?
Yeah,
Oh,
they did
yeah,
a full
okay.
in,
I
and
saw
I'm like,
them.
a current affair do good. All right, I'm not picking on them ever again. They did an amazing good news story. Interviewed me, Kmart, the Salvos, and I was walking past, and Kmart matched dollar for dollar what we did that day in the store, which I think was like $49,000 or something for what we did for presents for the day, and Kmart matched it dollar for dollar.
That's
Wow,
incredible.
that's
Which
really
I didn't know.
Yeah.
They didn't tell me. I just heard it, and I asked them later. Trish from and she's like, "Yeah, we're matching it."
Yeah, it's amazing.
Wow.
It's
So that
got
was
such
cool.
a big impact.
So
on
then
the
Beck
community.
went and paid off the lay-bys in the store.
I heard about that.
Yeah, was
Yeah.
that? Did that
Yeah.
like get leaked as like?
No, that was a very I talk about it now. It's a
Yeah,
very
okay.
private thing. It was
Okay.
like 38 grand. We didn't talk to ACO. We didn't
Yeah.
tell anyone. We just did that.
Yeah.
But somebody else had done something similar to Toy Store on the Gold Coast
Yeah,
that
okay.
year. So
Yeah.
but that was pretty powerful. We had people coming into Gene at reception in tears and ringing and emailing, and I was actually going to cancel my lay-bys. We needed money for food and bills. I've just been made redundant. I'm just like, the stories were wild.
Yeah.
So just to put that little bit of a spark, they'll forget in a few years. Maybe they won't forget.
No, I don't
like me
think
as a
they'll
kid.
forget. No.
But just those
Something
little
like that.
things, it's like when you're doing well,
Mm.
what are you going to do with it?
Yeah.
You can't take it with you.
Yeah, no,
But
that's
you can
true.
definitely take your family on a beautiful overseas holiday.
All right, I'm
There you
booking
go,
it.
Karen.
I'm gonna
You got
Because
the
Graham
G-
said, you know what Graham said to sell?
Yeah.
Graham said to book the holiday.
G's got to give
I'm
you
not
the
letting
sign
go.
off.
I'm not letting go.
Oh, the girls will be so stoked.
Mm.
I think they'll be massive G fans once they hear that G's given the
Maybe. Well, the
big
holiday,
T.
then they're back on the budget.
Exactly.
Yeah. Oh, that's exciting.
I appreciate you guys sharing. You've
you.
done extremely well in such a short amount of time.
No, thank you.
But I really want to play with the strategy now
Yeah.
and then look
It's
at the next
exciting.
steps
Yeah.
and maybe chat with you guys again, share with everyone the next couple of months. And that the holiday hopefully is booked and when we're going and what are we doing, where's the next home and what's happening, and sort of have it all just planned out.
Yeah.
And then you just got
Great.
to stick to the plan.
Yeah. That'd be fantastic.
Excellent.
Really
Yeah.
appreciate the support too from
Yeah.
Thank
yourself
you.
and the Infinity and all amazing staff.
We've got a great team.
Right.
Very proud of them.
Legends.
So.
Yeah,
And
excellent.
the culture's getting stronger and stronger and like super cool people.
Yeah.
We've stopped hiring the skill.
Yeah.
We can teach the skill. We're hiring the people.
Yeah.
So we're just focused on the good human, and that's working really well.
Yeah.
Awesome.
It's good. It's been a pleasure, guys.
Awesome.
you.
Thank
Thanks.
you.
Well done.
Yeah. Hopefully didn't sweat too much.
Well, crushed it.